Welcome to Next Game's Odyssey Series. This video covering the Sheol Jail NM Ngai. Now in this video, I'll go over the Ngai battle strategy that I recommend you use, and then show you a battle example of the fight against Ngai using my ninja. Let's go ahead and get into what this last NM I'm going to cover looks like. Now Ngai is a mob from the Rockfin family that is a bit more challenging to stagger than some of the other Atonement 3 NMs. He takes the best damage from blunt and thunder sources. Now this means you are going to normally have to switch to hand, club, or staff to deal the majority of your damage. Now on Ninja, I choose to go with club using True Strike. I've heard others have had lots of success on Monk and other jobs using Judgment and Black Halo. Now if you are taking the guy on solo, then your trust selection will be critical to making sure that you can take this one on and succeed. Let's go ahead and get into what's involved. First, let's talk about the standard attacks that you're going to see. Each of his attacks will be in one of three forms. Bite, which is a single target physical damage and defense down. Thrust, which is a conal physical damage and knockback. And Spin, which is an AoE physical damage and knockback. The spells that you'll see Ngai use are Waterga 4, which will usually hit everyone for up to 500 AoE damage, and Water 5, that hits for upwards of 1000 damage. You'll also see Sleepga used, but thankfully you are often awoken by AoE only a moment after this lands, so it's not too much of a risk. Now let's go over the abilities that you'll see used. The first one is Protolithic Puncture, which will do severe damage and reset enmity on the person that it's used on. This will normally make it so that you are tanking after this ability is used, so you need to make sure that you're ready to tank at any point during this fight. Pelagic Cleaver is an AoE damage and max hit points down. Untitled Guillotine is a conal damage ability that thankfully does not inflict too much damage from what I've seen. Aquatic Lance is a conal damage ability that inflicts defense down and magic defense down. Marine Mayhem is a low AoE damage ability, but instant KO if you're outside of a 5-foot range and within 20-foot range, so make sure that you're always within that 5-foot range of the main boss. Or if you're doing this in a party setup and not currently doing damage, make sure you're outside of 20 feet. Karcharian Verve is the next and final ability we're going to talk about. It will boost Nagai's attack and magic attack, and most importantly opens the red stagger window. Any weapon skill used after this ability is used will now trigger a red stagger. You will then need multiple weapon skills used in the second following that first weapon skill to trigger a blue stagger and make the fetters stop spawning. Note, you need to use those weapon skills before the skill chain window opens from that first weapon skill, so it's all in a very short period of time. Now the main challenge in this fight is dealing with the Stagger Mechanics, as you can't trigger blue stagger without multiple weapon skills used at practically the same time. Therefore, you want to use trusts that either often use weapon skills, or whose attacks count as weapon skills themselves. August, Arcelia, Ballamore, and Theodore all have attacks that count as weapon skills. Now the use of them really should make that first blue stagger a rather trivial matter, as only one of them has to attack at around that time that you weapon skill in order to cause that blue stagger. Now I will point out that the second use of Karcharian Verve can be difficult to stagger on for a solo player, and you're really going to kind of need a bit of luck to have 2 or 3 other trust all attack at that same 1 second window that you're doing your weapon skill. So it might be a little tricky, and as you can see towards the very end of my run, I do run into a complication with this. All you can try and do is keep weapon skilling and hoping they will do so at the same time. So in regards to the strategy that I ended up coming up with on this one, I went with my Mephic Cudgel, ready to do some true strike damage. I took along August, Arcelia, Sethus, Monborough, and Kupipi. Now it's important you have backups planned in this fight, as it's expected trust will die at times. I recommend not using a Bard on this one, as the slot is just too important for other jobs that can actually help heal you and the rest of your party. Amchuchu, Arkivi, Cherokiki are the main ones that I think you should call once your other trusts start dying. Just make sure whoever you summon has the ability to cure, as that is the most critical thing when taking on these Atonement 3 NMs. Also, when you're summoning those replacement trusts, make sure you keep in mind that you can re-enter this same fight 2 more times with 2 other jobs if you happen to lose on that first Moglophone 2. As long as you do not completely leave Sheol Jail, the NM's hit point level will remain at wherever you left it at, allowing you to continue the fight. Now, please keep in mind that this method isn't going to be very effective or useful for people simply trying to farm RP, but for people trying to get initial clears or vengeance clears, this can be an important path to progression. I foresee many of these NMs still being soloable on higher vengeance levels when using those extra 2 Moglophone 2s. I've now completed all of the NMs on Vengeance 0, so I'll now be going back to the start and going through all of them on Vengeance 5 to see what adventures await me. I'll be sure to post my results and new strategies as I go. For now, everyone enjoy my final Vengeance 0 run. Enjoy the run, everyone. Obviously not the prettiest way to get a win, but I thought it was important to show people just exactly how this works, and how easy it is to get wins, even if you end up dying right there at the end. I can't emphasize using this strategy enough if you need to get those clears, either on the original or higher vengeance levels. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you found this helpful. Stay safe, and stay healthy out there.